Today we're going to talk about graphing a line using a table. So your objective at the end of the day today, or at the end of this video, is to be able to graph a line using a table of values. So let's make sure we understand about ordered pairs and the coordinate plane. An ordered pair is a pair of x and y values that go together. The x value goes before the y value in the ordered pair. So this is what we call an input-output table, an XY table. Each one of these is a pair of numbers that go together. -1, -2, -4, 3, 3, 2, 4, -1, 0, 4, and 4, 0. We can use these points to graph a line on the coordinate plane. A coordinate plane is made up of a horizontal number line called the x-axis, therefore the x values go on the x-axis, and a vertical number line called the y-axis. The vertical line is the y-axis. The two lines intersect at a point called the origin. Make sure you've sketched this graph on your notes before we move forward. In order to graph, our x value goes first, so we always go left and right first. A -1 shows that we go 1 to the left, and then we go down 2. -1, -2. For the next one, -4 goes first. We always go left and right first, so it's 4 to the left because of the negative. 1, 2, 3, 4. But this time it's 3 up. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, that's a positive 3, so we go 3 to the right and then up 2, 3, 2. 4, -1, that's a positive 4, so we go 4 to the right and down 1. 0, 4 means to go 0 left and right and up 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4, 0 means to go 4 to the right and up and down 0. This is what we call a scatter plot. These do not make a straight line, so we're not going to connect them with a line. There's no reason to. Not every table makes a straight line. So let's try graphing these. -5, -4 is -5 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down 1, 2, 3, 4. But what if we run into fractions like -7/2? Well, we can do -7 divided by 2 in our calculator, and that gives me -3.5. So this is just like -4, -3.5. Well, -3.5 is in between two numbers. So let's figure out where we're going to graph that. We're going to go 4 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, down 3, 1, 2, 3, and then halfway in between the -3 and the -4. -3, -3, that's 3 to the left and then down 3. 1, -1, that is 1 to the right and then down 1. 2, -1/2, that's to the right 2 and down 1/2, not 1.5, just down 1/2, and 3, 0. These do make a straight line, so we're going to connect those. Not every scatter plot makes a straight line, but some do. We can use this information to graph equations. This is what we call a linear equation. It has one x and one y, no exponents. That means it's going to graph a straight line in some way. We can substitute values for x in and then solve for y. I always choose numbers that are small so that I can fit them on the graph. So let's try starting with 0. I know that y is going to be equal to 2 times whatever x is minus 3. Well, I'm saying that x could be 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 3 is -3. So one point is 0 left and right and down 3. That's not enough to make a straight line, so let's try another number. Again, I'm going to be lazy and choose small numbers that fit on my graph. So let's try 1. Y equals 2 times 1 minus 3. I'm just replacing the x with 1. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 3 is -1, so that's the point 1 to the right and down 1. All right, let's just keep this pattern going. Y equals 2 times 2 minus 3. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 3 is 1, so that's the point over 2 and up 1. And then let's use 3. Y equals 2 times 3 minus 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 minus 3 is 3, so that's the point 3, comma 3. And what do you know? They make a straight line just like we predicted. Now, that straight line goes on forever in all directions. That's why I could choose any x value I want. I could choose an x value of negative 25.5, but that's harder to calculate and it doesn't fit on my graph. So I would have chosen numbers that are smaller so that I can calculate them more easily and I can fit them on my graph. Now, what if I end up with a fraction? Notice that the denominator is 2. This is easiest if you choose numbers like 0 or numbers that are divisible by 2. So let's say I chose 0 first. X is 0, so I'm going to substitute negative 1/2 times 0 plus 2. Well, the reason why I choose 0 is when I multiply anything times 0, I get 0, and 0 plus 2 is 2. So that's the point 0, comma 2. But if I choose 1, I'm going to end up with a fraction. So I'm going to skip 1 and choose things that are divisible by 2. So if I do negative 1/2 times 2 plus 2, remember we learned that we divide by the denominator and multiply by the numerator. So this becomes 2 divided by 2 is 1, negative 1 times 1 is negative 1, and negative 1 plus 2 is 1. So that's over 2 and up 1. I'm going to skip 3 because 3 is not divisible by 2, and I'm going to go straight to 4. Y equals negative 1/2 times 4 plus 2. Divide by the denominator, multiply by the numerator. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0, so that's the point 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, comma 0. And I'm going to skip 5 because that's not divisible by 2. But 6 is. So that's y equals negative 1/2 times 6 plus 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Negative 1 times 3 is 2. Or excuse me, negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. And negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. So that's over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and down 1. Again, it's a linear equation, so it makes a straight line. Which of the values of x should we use to graph this equation? Go ahead and try that now. Some equations will not be set up for graphing using a table when given. We will have to use our skills from the isolating a variable notes to isolate y first and then make a table. So I'm going to first start by getting y alone. So it's 2x minus 3y equals 3. We learned in the last lesson that we can move the 2x to the other side using addition or subtraction. In this case, it's positive, so I'm going to subtract from both sides. So negative 3y equals negative 2x plus 3. And then we're going to divide everything by negative 3. The negative 3's cancel out, which is why we wanted to get y alone. Negative 2 divided by negative 3, well, a negative divided by a negative becomes a positive, and the x just comes down. 3 divided by negative 3 is negative 1. Remember, we can only add and subtract like terms, but we can multiply and divide anything, so we divide everything by negative 3. Well, I noticed that my denominator is a 3, so I want to choose things from my xy table that are divisible by 3. So we're going to try 0, 3, 6, but if I choose 9, that's going to run off the graph. Well, don't forget about negative numbers. I'm going to use negative 3 for my last one. And then we're just going to substitute in. Y equals 2/3 times 0 minus 1. 2/3 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. So that's the point 0, comma negative 1. Y equals 2/3 times 3 minus 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. So the x value matches with the point 3, comma 1. 2/3 times 6 minus 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. So that's over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And up. 1, 2, 3. And remember, we didn't choose 9 because 9 is going to run off the graph. So I chose a negative 3. So that's 2 over 3 times negative 3. Oops, sorry. Times negative 3 minus 1. Negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. -2 minus 1 is -3. Check those with your calculator. So that becomes the point -3, -3. And notice all of my points are in a straight line. If they were not in a straight line, I've made an error somewhere. For your summary today in your notes, make sure you've written down what are the steps that you need to follow when you need to graph a line using an XY table. I'll get you started. I would say first, isolate Y. First, isolate Y. Then let's think about our table needs to be filled in. Remember, we're going to choose X values. You can make those up. They're whatever you want. Then you're going to substitute. And your last step is to solve. And then graph each point. And then you're going to connect with a straight line. All right, thanks guys. Good luck on your IP today.